Howdy everyone, and today I've got a shorter than usual video with a little news and a quick test. Sigma have just announced the arrival of 3 of their popular low-budget aps-c autofocus prime lenses on the Nikon Z mount mirrorless system. Their very cool 16mm f1.4, which will cost £450 or $500 US, the handy 30mm f1.4 at a lower price of £350 or $400 US, and the very small 56mm f1.4 at $450 or $500 US. So that's a somewhat higher price than for Sony or Fuji mount cameras. My guess is that Nikon are charging Sigma a license fee here, which ultimately impacts the consumer. Still, they're fairly good value lenses. I'd like to thank Sigma UK for letting me borrow them for a few days so I could put them through their paces for you all and check that they're doing everything they should be doing properly. These 3 lenses are already available on Sony E-mount, Fuji X-mount, Canon EF-M mount, L-mount and Micro Four Thirds cameras, and they're very well known about at this point. In fact, I'm not going to retest them entirely here and now because I've already done that for each of them about 3 times. They are the most ubiquitous autofocus lenses available today. If you want to see full reviews of the lenses, then again, I'll put links to them in the description below, but I do want to go over a few things about how well these lenses work on a Nikon Z mount camera right now. And just to remind you, these are not full frame lenses, they only offer a cropped aps-c or DX image circle, so if you're shooting on a full frame Nikon Z camera, it will revert to crop or DX mode automatically. The lenses have exactly the same optics as previous versions. They have the same coatings, minimum focus distances, same sharpness, everything. I know because I tested them. They also have the same good build quality too, being small and tough with a degree of weather sealing to them and weather sealing gaskets around the rear. Those new rear mounts are larger, as you would guess, to accommodate the larger Z mount system. The key thing I wanted to check was that they worked correctly on a Nikon Z camera without any quality issues or weird surprises, and thankfully my conclusion is pretty boring. They work perfectly fine. No unexpected problems with image quality, and Nikon's in-camera corrections worked absolutely fine too. A big question for me was the autofocus performance. On each lens, the autofocus motor was silent and accurate and pretty fast too, in single shot mode or when tracking, behaving exactly as you would expect for a new lens on a Nikon Z mount camera. So for these 3 lenses, everything seems to be present and correct and shipshape. Nice. My feelings about the 3 lenses and how recommendable they are has not changed over the years. They get an easier time on a Nikon Z mount system though, because at the time of writing, their higher resolution sensors are only 20 megapixels. At f1.4, all 3 lenses are very sharp in the middle of their images, although the 30mm lens gets some nasty purple fringing on contrasting edges, which goes away the moment you stop down pretty much. Let's take a look at their corner image quality. The 16 and 30mm lenses are looking just reasonably sharp now, but the 56mm optic holds on to its resolution much better. Stop them down to f2 and the 16 and 56mm lenses look pretty sharp now, with the 30mm optic still lagging behind. At f2.8 though, all 3 lenses are looking great from corner to corner. Stop down as far as f11 or f16 though, and their sharpness and contrast begin to fade due to the effect of diffraction. So that's how all 3 of them perform at 20 megapixels. Overall, well, I was never bowled over by the 30mm lens. It's not terribly sharp, but it certainly is impressive value for money, and has a useful general purpose field of view. You can get lovely pictures out of it. But I do really like the 16 and 56mm lenses. On the 16mm lens, its image quality is quite good, and the images it can get with that bright aperture and wide field of view are really impressive, something else. I love the wide images and subtly out of focus backgrounds that lens can make. And as for the 56mm lens, that's awesome for some quick and simple portrait and subject photography, as well as a bit of street photography, as well as being lovely and small and inconspicuous. All three lenses are really nice and good value for money, and if you're the owner of a Nikon Z mount DX camera who hasn't really seen them before, then I do encourage you to check out my full reviews of them in the description below. There is something in the three of them for pretty much everyone.